Jenkins on good, folks. Jenkins on good. I got it though. I got it. So those then broke loose. Breakfast of champions. Howdy everybody, Wild Man Willie here on what is shaping up to be an idyllically beautiful Monday afternoon. Really enjoying a little bit of sunshine in between the breeze, little puffy clouds everywhere. And today I'm doing the unboxing on a full fleet of Delphi chassis components for the Red Team 2006 Toyota Corolla project. Woohoo! We got some beautiful car parts footage this time, folks. Everything came from Delphi Technologies and as such comes with a lifetime warranty. Nice corrosion resistant coating on that. All my bands for my boots are blue and they're nice thick good ones. Castle nut, nice thick chrome. Sway bar link bushings. That'll be real easy to install, ain't much of that. Rear sway bar links, nice corrosion resistant. Got the big Delphi marking on them. And they tell me when we have this oversized plastic ball sticking out the bottom, although it's not a centered metal bearing, that is actually an increased size ball joint for the application, which is nice. So we'll find that present on both the rear sway bar links and the front sway bar links. Have the same design feature. Most of the fasteners are nylocks. That's nice, makes life easy. Also, again, nice thick booting, blue bands, nice stuff. Tire rod ends, same deal. Good quality casting, it appears. All the machine work looks great. Nylocks up top, easy to work with. Inner tire rod ends, same deal. Boots, got a set of them. Control arms by Delphi Technologies. Laser engraved, looking beautiful. Everything's going to match up this time, folks. I guess this is kind of what would happen if you took your Toyota here to the Buick dealership and asked them to replace the whole undercar. Hell, I don't know. Most of this stuff looks like it's made in Turkey, which I found that Suspensia does that too. CV axles by FBP, usually my choice for them, as CV axles are CV axles for the most part. I mean, there's junk and there's good, but that's good. Those ship from closer by, so I don't end up with a lot of packing damages on those. And once again, FCS Auto coming to it with the strut assemblies. People say what they want. I've had nothing but good experiences so far. Up to 3 years of these guys being on cars. Inexpensive, complete units. Seem well made. Everything I look for in the assembly is there. So that's front and rear for both of them. Again, lifetime warranty component parts. So this is a beautiful setup here. Not sure how much of it we'll get done today. We're just getting started. We got it unboxed though. So we got the eye candy portion of everything done. Will I pull my ass up in there and put the rear struts on it? We'll see. Let's get a closer look at just how nice all this stuff is. Delphi Technologies, they sure are proud of it. They got it marked. You know, they gave me problems with the fuel pump one time, but I'm going to overlook that. I'm sure that's not the same factory making their undercar, and all this undercar looks great from what I can tell you, which should be quite a damn bit, huh, folks? It's not my first rodeo with the Corolla. Take a closer look at those inner tire rod ends. They got a nice jam nut. Outers come with the nylock. That's nice. Again, nice looking coating on that. Boots look really nice. Everything looks nice about that. Sway bar links, all of it matches. Every last band on it's going to match. So a truly beautiful fleet of parts for this one. I'm very excited to install it on the car and see if this a little bit, and not much, but a little bit of additional expense over my usual quick picks for an economy package, what difference that makes. You know, I offer economy, I call it economy. It's all really good. I stay the hell out of the economy department on Rock Auto. I offer less expensive options many times, and I mix and match. And I've used Delphi components here in a batch with Suspensia and Mevotech, both original grade and Supreme. Moog, which I probably won't do again. I mix and match to maximize the quality of the part I'm getting. Rather pay a little more for the part than I would for the shipping and end up with a good set. This time around, It all wanted to ship from the same warehouse. It all says lifetime warranty on it. I've used the components mix and match before. Why not make the Jenkins Performance Delphi Technologies FCS Auto and FVP Auto rally car? In any event, I expect this to be the best handling 2006 Carolla in town. Certainly the best riding. Until I do the next one, wait till you see what we have in store for it, folks. We're going to take it to the extreme. So as you can see here, I've taken the liberty of... As you can see, I've taken the liberty of removing the felt interior inserts and the bottom panel from all this so that I can access the top of my rear strut towers. Now, on this particular one, it looks like we got a 14mm nut and we got some 17mm stuff. This could vary on yours, but before we've picked the car up off the ground or anything like that, all I've got is the parking brake set. I'm going to loosen these. I'm going to get them started. The goal is not to remove them. I don't want them to fall off. They can't. Gravity's your friend. It's pushing them up in there. But all I want to do is get my high torque out of the way before I pick the car up and have this thing sitting on jack stands. So let's just go ahead and climb in the trunko, as I have to do sometimes. Yep. All right. So now I'm inside the trunk. Carolla. I can do it. That would be tight and not loosen. We're just gonna get these broke loose. Please. Alright, that's broke loose. There's another one. It's a little more hidden. It's behind this piece of plastic right here on the back side. Now, for no reason do you need to mess with that. That's under compression. I probably should have taken that plastic out first, but we'll get that wrench head over it and it'll be all the same. Alright, so let's get that one started. Yep. Alright. That's started. See, I'd just rather do all that hard pushing before I pick the car up off the ground. That's the best way to go about it. Now here's our number 17. No, that's a dumbass, Willie. Don't do that. That's welded to the frame, to the unibody. That's actually going to be a bolt that passes up through the bottom. So, don't try to turn that one. See, I catch myself in real time. Now all I got to do is the other side. To do that, I'll try to rotate myself inside of here, like this. Alright, that's nice and comfy, I tell you what. Well, good thing I do all that core exercise. This is why. Alright, that one's broke loose. Again, same deal. You may want to let the seats down from the inside to get a little better access to this with this plastic missing, but it's not fully necessary. You can get around it just like that. And it's a simple matter of applying traction where needed. That flip it. All right. Sure, let's get it. Fight. Got it. All right. So that's them loosened up. Woo. Let's see if I can fold myself out of here. It probably is possible to just lean inside the car to do that. My back won't really let me do that either. Oh, ow. Now that I got the front wheel secured, I've got the parking brake set, vehicle is in park of course, and I've got my top nuts broken loose. It's time to break loose our lug nuts. Yeehaw! Let's get to it. Nothing to it but to do it. There's one, there's two, there's three, there's four, there's five. Six, 7, 8, 9, 10. John Henry versus NASCAR. That's what we got today. So those broke loose. Next step is for me to fiddle with my fiddly jack, get things picked up in the air. All right, Now it's time to safely lift the vehicle. Before I even get started on that, folks, I need a new jack handle. There's nothing wrong with my jack itself. If you suspect there is anything wrong with your tools, do not use them on a job like this. A bad jack will get you killed. This is a 3-ton. It's well lubricated, maintained. Its hydraulics are nice. This is a way you should be careful with if you're going to try it at home. In fact, you shouldn't, to operate one when you don't have a proper jack handle. All that disclaimer out of the way. We're going to get this corner lifted up. We're going to get this 3-ton jack stand underneath in position. Going to go around to the other side, do the same thing. My lug nuts are broken loose, but my wheels are not coming off the car until both are up in the air, and I've had a second chance to remove my outboard wheel chock and place that on the front of the second wheel once we're in the air. But we will begin the procedure. Even when you're using a decent jack stand, beware of where you might go if you were to fall. So I'm going to place that right there. The idea is if you slip out or fall off or whatever, that you don't go slam into a jack stand so that you don't stab yourself with something metal. Just know where you're headed. Save your knuckles. After this one, we'll get a little further back. It's on the factory jack position, but it's a little farther back. So I want to leave some meat for my jack stand to be under on the car. Go ahead and tighten this with my appropriate pair of pliers. It works great. Let's try that part at home, folks. And this is sufficient pull bar to do that. Get her lined up. And up. And there she goes. Yeah, it's going to appreciate some new struts, I believe. A lot of great. That is picked up. Let's see if it's picked up substantially enough to get a jack stand under it, and it'll raise up 1 notch, because I want 1 notch so I can lower it down. I don't want to be on the very bottom of it. Always handle pointed out. Needs to go up just a little bit more. Alright. Fits under the vehicle. That is the proper location. Needs a little more so that I can click in the up position. Alright, now I can install my pin. While I have the jack under the car, while I have my jack stand safety, watch your hands in every second of this. Alright, that's out from under it. Now we're going to lower this corner on to the jack stand. There's one side secured. Go ahead and let that down. Leaving my tires on serves as an additional safety. Make sure you got clearance for your wheel to roll out. And when you pick up your massive jack, remember to do your stretches before you begin your exercises. Yeah, yeehaw. Can't really see what I'm doing over here, but the same procedure applies. Be wary of the fact that you are on a jack stand on the other corner, so that too much pivoting or anything is not a good sign. If you hear a bunch of creaking or a bunch of dirt noises like something's digging in, stop what you're doing, reassess. And the goal here is to get it to approximately the same height. We'll achieve that by setting the jack stand at the same notch, which is the first working notch on each stand. Any more than that won't be required here. I don't like to go any higher up with them than I have to. So up with the car, creaky squeaky, move my jack stand so I don't bust my head. Up she goes. Is that high enough to get my stand under it? As here as it may be, not quite. We'll put it in approximately the same location, approximately the same height. We're going to install our safety pin. Now, this time I'm going to lower it onto the jack stand, but I'm not going to remove the jack. I'm just going to leave the jack underneath it. It would be nice to know exactly how I was going to pick it back up if I was going to run into an issue, and a little bit of extra support is a helpful thing. So I just gave that the tiniest little thing. And we're going to give it the shake test. Looks like she's safely secured. So now we can safely remove our tires from the situation. Let's go ahead and spin them lug nuts off the rest of the way. Parking brake should be holding things still enough to do the job here. Now, from this point in the expenditure over, I'm going to be being very careful to keep as much of my body out from underneath the car as possible. There's always a non-zero likelihood of an accident or a mistake. You want to just think ahead, plan things out, and do things where you have a little redundancy. So before I even stick myself up underneath this car too much, I've got another jack stand. And I'm going to place that underneath where that rail would go. And if it doesn't reach it exactly or snug up, that's fine. It doesn't have to. Its purpose is an additional safety to make sure I live to repair another Carolla after this one. Never be too careful. So that's that off. These wheels is going to get painted before they go back on. Now, one thing I noticed right away is that I have ordered sway bar links for a car that does not appear to have a rear sway bar. So, we'll be sending back a piece. Sometimes this happens. I guess that's the sporty, the model of the car or something like that. Sure did offer it. Hell, maybe we can get one for it, you know? Maybe that's a reason to buy an aftermarket one. And as you see here, here's our old strut. Can't visually see anything wrong with it, of course. Not much to note, other than it's 15 years old and has 170,000 miles on it. And a new one sure will clean up any issues that causes. To get it out, you got one big nut that runs on a stud right here. And here is the head of that other bolt that runs up from the bottom. So as you see, this one is very, very simple to address and to get to. The best time to do any additional cleanup on this stuff is while the old parts are still installed, so that nastiness gets all over the old parts instead of all over the new parts. So for this one, make sure you wear your personal protective equipment, of course. And this is just an extra step. As you see, Toyota puts quite a bit of seam sealer on these cars. It becomes a magnet for dust, which becomes stalactites and stalagmites. And, well, over many years, it builds up. Now, it ain't really hurting anything, supposedly. And, you know, I don't encounter rust out here. It's not a thing. However, if we were ever going to have rust, it seems like it would be where crap is kicked to the underside of the car. Now, my purpose is just to get it knocked loose, folks, so I can take a pressure washer, wash the heck out of the car at the wash shop, and get this off of there. But I just want to break loose the hard points. Get the snot out from under there. Just scrape it out. There are a bunch up underneath plastic panels like that. But once we get it moving, once we've dug something down in it a little bit, then it'll all come out at the car wash with a little bit of work. But usually not until the cap has been broken on the scum. So, as you can see, not looking for perfection here by any means. Just to get off what will fall off, a debrading process, if you will. Get some of that shit out of there. Again, I ain't going after it with hardcore cleaners. Ain't doing nothing too crazy. Just breaking loose old dirt and debris so I can see and feel what I'm doing and have a cleaner result in the end. So, that's mostly licked off of there in a way that car wash can frickin' rinse out the rest. Also, might use my blowgun to blow some of that off when I'm all done. But you know, that's one of the more dangerous tools, folks. So as you can see, you pretty much shouldn't be able to hurt much with the brush. Now, on other models, you may have sensors and wires and such. You want to be careful of them. This brake hose should be wipeable and cleanable with the brush. If it gives you problems doing that, then you definitely need a new brake hose. This bottom cable, well, that's the parking brake secondary. Again, that's a steel cable. Don't go abusing it, but you shouldn't be able to hurt that too bad. So, Now that we've done a little bit of cleanup, not too much, we got our nut, our bolt exposed here on the bottom. We'll go ahead and get that one broke free, and then we got this one to break free. So, why talk about it? Let's break them free. I'm going to guess to educate, and that is a 14 millimeter, and that may in fact be the same, or it may be slightly larger. Man's problems, right? Hard to gauge. Let's see. We'll go at it with the 14 millimeter first and see what we may have. Now for this one, it's not fully necessary, but I like to use my extensions to get me the hell away from the work. And that is on loose and good. Decades later, still checking. Alright, yep, that's that idiot nut. That I was glad that I did not attempt to snap loose. Well, what I would have done is fucked up my tool most likely from the body. If I would have done something so stupid, we could have just used a nut and bolt. It could have been repaired, but you know, watch what you're doing. If the bolt nut is painted the same color as the body, it may not be for you to remove. So that's all there is to do down here. The other ones are studs, and they're up in the top still. Let's see about this guy. No, that is bigger, and I'm guessing that's a 17, but experience tells me it may also be an 18, so let's go grab a couple of things out of the kit. All right, back on the scene with what should be appropriate tooling. I got a couple of choices here for no matter what this throws at me. We'll start with number 17, the smallest. Too small. Go up to number 19. 19 fits. Not too big, I don't think. I got my 18 here just in case. No, 18 don't fit it. So that's 19 millimeter all day long. Usually don't use my 3/8 for braking torque, but I don't think this is going to be too bad. However, if it takes more than a huff and grunt, I may switch to a pull bar. So watching where I'm at, watching where my chin would go, let's break her loose. And we did. Now you can just spin that one all the way out of there. That strut won't go anywhere. Don't worry. She should be hanging pretty much all the way down now. Just holding the weight, the downward motion. So you keep them, and your scar tissue will show you which way they went. Not that that matters a whole lot, but could if they're all scarred up. Alright, so that'll move at the bottom. Now it's a simple matter of going back to the top and loosening out those nuts that I already broke loose. Time to get where I barely fit. You might get quite a view of me this time. Everybody trying to contain themselves. But as you see, I already got that broken loose, and boy, I'm glad I did. So I don't like to be inside the car, up on top of jack stands, folded up in a little knot, trying to do that same thing. Let's get behind that plastic again. That is kind of a bastard. I may have to do it, I just said I didn't want to. I don't think so, though. I think I can get wrench on. Just maneuver that plastic with my hand, find where I'm going. Out. Yeah, I'm going to say, if you're doing this at home, go ahead and get that fucking piece of plastic out of your way. I've made unnecessary difficulty for myself in showing you what it's like. But I'm wrench on and it's spinning down. You can even see it dropping a little bit. We're down to finger tight now. I'll get my wrench out there and just spin her on out. And spin her on out. this finger tight. Yeah, for certain, folks. Learn and burn with me. Last one I did of these was a hatchback. And so this exact same thing, well, that was a matrix, was more exposed. This time around, I just mushed my hands all over that piece of freaking plastic, which simply by letting the back seat down, I bet I could pop that loose and get the clearance. So I'm going to recommend y'all do what I did not and get this piece of plastic out of there unless you feel like pushing your knuckles past it. Now, of course, my hands is made out of leather. It won't hurt me. Anyway, that assembly is loosened. Ain't nothing holding it in there but forces of gravity and attachment. We're going to knock it out from the bottom, clean things up, and stick the new one in. Okay. Now that all our fasteners have been removed from the situation, you can see the strut assembly has dropped down in the hole. We're able to move things around a little bit, and I found it helpful to use a rubber mallet. This is not a steel sledgehammer, but a rubber mallet to persuade this guy to move to the inboard position and come off its stud. Now that it's out, you wiggle that past, and out drops that old strut. Now, who made them? Who made them? KYB USA, huh? Well, KYB is definitely excellent equipment. However, I prefer a strut that has not been in the box for 10 years on these, and I'm not saying the KYB would, especially on this application. It's quite possible that what we would get would be a very fresh new part. I mean, millions of these cars and good aftermarket support help. It really couldn't be better. That being said, FCS has been made real recently. So I'm just knocking off any dust that may be on the seat and surface there. Don't want any of that shit in there. Our next step is to grab our new strut assembly. And they are clearly marked as that. They got them two studs, and then they take that one bolt up through there. So there's an L engraved into that. Let's go ahead and kind of fight things into position. Usually you need to go up in the hole first, and it shouldn't be too terribly hard to line up. Smooth that to the inside, wiggle jiggle, pop her in place. That couldn't have been more simple. So now we take our bolt, get that finger started. We'll knock just a little bit of dust off of this. There ain't nothing hurt about it. So that goes. See the witness mark? Okay. That way. And then that way. Now before I go totally tight with anything, as always, I'm going to get everything finger tight. I'm going to get up top and get my new nut started on things. But as you can see, putting the rear struts on one of these Carollas ain't no thing but a chicken wing, folks. Get her done, son. Make the back end right. Of course, I'm making things easy for myself today. The front end is also easy for a car in general, but it ain't like that. Okay, this took just a quick second to figure out, but nothing egregious. They're all a little different, folks. So to lean the rear seats forward on this Carolla, there's little grab handles in the back. I thought they were the emergency trunk release, but I was wrong. See, I'm wrong sometimes. But what this means is, now without even removing this bezel, I have much better flexibility of the bezel. Go ahead and finger start these nuts on these bolts. You can go ahead and do that. Get that one started. And get this one started with the reach around action. Yipper, yipper, yipper. Anything I can do to avoid contorting myself into that hole is going to be a great idea. Now let's check, make sure they're still 14 millimeter, and they're not. They've gone up a nut size. Let's reconvene. All right, my phone battery is rapidly going away, but you can see I found myself a much more comfortable access path for this stuff. Learn something every day, so let's just tighten them on down in Funky Town. Here's that front one. And again, I don't have that bottom nut, or bottom one pushed up yet all the way, so I'm not doing my final tight yet. But again, I didn't take this bezel all the way loose. but I certainly gave myself more working room, so that's much nicer. It's easier to flex it, it's easier to get it out of the way. My big meat claw actually kind of fits up in there, so that's cool. So we'll get that one started proper. Like I said, proper. Come on, Archimedes. Archimedes, yep. Just run that down. Lick it with my thumb till it's run down. We'll get it just a little snug. That's physically picking that strut up into the hole and making it straight. This is why we're not going to tie anything down tight yet, because we're working with the triangle. We want a flat triangle. We don't want a pinched triangle. See how that changed? Now let me get underneath and tighten that one up. I'll leave the camera here and you'll be able to watch it rise up to the bottom a little bit. Rising up, rising up, rising up. See that one go in. Oh, that one's still a 14. Don't forget, that's a crossover. So I can use my 15 to get her hand snug, thinking about it. But we ain't gonna do the bottom like that. All right, now that that is hand snug and I'm satisfied that everything is seated properly, we'll come up here and give it a final tight. We use the He-Man Ugga Duggas. Okay, that'll be enough. Yep, that ought to be enough. Go back to this one. Just make sure nothing changed about that situation. No, it did not. All right, we're going to get on the bottom. This time with the 14, because that didn't transfer, we're going to give that the same treatment. Again, torque specification on this is one big guy, 2 arms, as tight as he'd ever like to deal with it again. Yeah, like that. Give it a good grunt. On this bottom, I'll recheck its tightness again as well. Okay, anytime I'm installing a new car part, this is always my favorite part. It's called the bolt recheck. Yeah, that's where I want that. Now I'm going to mark that I was here with the Jenkins Performance green paint. We're going to come along here to this bottom one. We're going to make sure it's as tight as I would like it. Oh. Yeah. That's tight enough. We'll mark that. Yep, Willie was here. And then right here in the middle of the thing, time to say I was here. So WJ. Get a little more paint rolling on that. Four. It's time for new pens, folks. 24. Now, we're going to go to the top. We're going to certify that they are tight. We're going to mark them as well. And I may come back around with my prettier paint pen when I'm all done. This one's getting a little bit leaky. But only after fully check tight. Check tight. Mark. Run that again. Check tight. Mark. Alright. All that's tight right in. My bolts are out. My old nuts are out. That's what I'm talking about. So that's one corner done. Rinse, repeat on the other side. Second verse is exactly the same as the first. Not a whole lot better or a whole lot worse. Just same. I'm out of phone battery, so I'm going to go in here and get this thing charging up. We're going to rinse and repeat on that Up next is wash these wheels. Wash them real good because we're going to hit them with the rattle can. Get them ready for them hubcaps. So we're doing a little bit of cosmetic work on this one as we go. Customer has those brand new hubcaps that look great, but you can see the wheels underneath are quite brown. So a little extra care never hurt anything. Let's go ahead and drop a little soap on that. Prep for paint, prep for paint. Oh yeah. You see they're more brown than they are black. So we're just going to give them a good scrub down. Again, this is prep for paint. This will not be ready for paint after this wash. This is just knock the nasty dirt and shit off of it and get it thinking about the idea. After that, we're going to clean things up either with mineral spirits or brake clean or something. But my first goal is to just get the nasty brown inspired. Now, before I rinse these, I just want to go ahead and agitate everything real good. Get it good and agitated. We'll let that soap emulsify that dirt for a while on that one. We'll come over here to this one. Get it started. How much is rust? How much is road grime? How much is dirt and debris? Well, I tell you, I'm going to show y'all a dirt pile that come out from under this car. Here in Eugene, we don't have rust problems, and it really doesn't seem to hurt anything. With the amount of basically potting soil that comes out from under a fender well, it can be truly amazing. Then we try to get in that ridge. Again, all I'm concerned about getting painted is this part of the rim. Anyway, this is just to make the wheel disappear behind the new hubcaps. So that's an initial run of elbow grease. We'll rinse them down and see what they look like. See what other steps we need to take to get them clean enough to paint. Hopefully not too aggressive. Hopefully I can just go over them with a toilet brush and some brake clean or some mineral spirits and they'll be ready to go. Again, more time spent if I'm prepping something you can actually see that I painted. But the whole point of this is to disappear the rim behind it. Get that dirt off the yard for us. Once all my water runs clear and not soapy, so I know I got most of it off. Alright, we're starting to get them clean enough to paint. Let's go ahead and get them knocked off and drying off somewhere in the sun where I can find it. As with anything like this, your mileage is going to vary on painting your rims. And let me say the best time to be addressing this is right before you change to new tires. And that way you ain't got to mask a damn thing. Just hit it. You may be asking yourself, Willie, how are you going to turn a piece of cardboard into a perfect circle? Well, I'm not. That's not easily possible. You'll always end up with some kind of gap. I'm going to do it a edge at a time and use this as a paint shield. Now remember, I'm not even going to hit this outer edge here that damn hard. What I'm interested in is right here what shows behind this wheel. But we got ourselves some black spray paint that I've used on those set of wheels. It's a little glossy. I like the way it ends up coming out looking. It's not the highest gloss. We're just going to hit it, and as I move around, I'm going to move my shield. While we wait for the breeze to dive in it. A cigarette is an excellent indicator of your wind direction and speed. However, it does run the possibility of getting some trash, ash in your paint. Well, let's just get a little test. Yeah, I like how that's spread. Just go around it, See there, that's all I'm asking that mask to do right there. I'm going to rotate my workpiece. Got the electric angle I'm sitting at around to the other side. And again, you'll see our real light on that. I'm not trying to soak this in paint, quote unquote. I'm trying to make this wheel disappear. So that's in there. That'll work for that. Same deal, just a little dust around the edge. And then you get a little on the tire, it's not the end of the world. You do want to avoid it though. The black will not be the same, it will show. And as you can see, you can pretty well freehand on the inside. Rotate my work, look at it again. See what we got here. As you can see, folks, very quick glass, very thin coat with that. So all we're even after it all. See there? Don't get no ashes in it if you're painting something other than a steely. You can pretty much just freehand. And I'm just getting it thicker in the area where I actually need the damn paint, as you can see. Putting it where I want it. Let's go through that middle cap again. But again, I'm almost unconcerned with the paint. There's no alarm going off. We'll continue with this. You can see what a difference that makes right away. Stop alarm. I am pleased to report that we got ourselves a rear end installed on this car here. As you can see, I went back over my paint pen. I used my Jenkins Performance Teal spray paint, sprayed a little bit of that in a cup, and used the paint marker as a brush for that. So that worked real good. I remarked all my bolts for tightness. Got my initials back on there. I got way more dirt and debris knocked out of that. Just look at the potting soil that comes out from under them. Again, there was quite a bit, and there's still quite a bit trapped under there. But we will be able to get it out with the pressure washer now. It can actually remove it now that the clog's busted. I even took down this piece of plastic to get the big chunks out from under it that were stuffed up around the fuel line. Again, it's been debraded now, so now it'll wash proper. On the inside, same deal. Went back over it with the better Jenkins Performance Steel so we can see if anything has moved. And on the passenger side, we got it ready to rock. Again, re-lettered, looking way better. I'm proud of this one, folks. Cleaned it up immensely underneath there with the brush. Again, look at all the potting soil. Oregon, the Willamette Valley, the most fertile soil in the world. You wonder why plants grow out from under these cars. This one's not been off-roading. That's just what slings up underneath one in 20 years. So that's beautiful, looking great. Also got the spray paint done on the wheels. I'm waiting for them to dry just a little bit to the touch before I put them on the car and lower it to the ground. So, again, if we closely examine this finish, it leaves a little bit to be desired. There's some dirt painted to the wheel. There's all sorts of issues with that. But this is underneath a hubcap. There's just going to be tiny little gaps of that black showing out from underneath that hubcap. And it's going to look worlds of difference better on this car. Them brown wheels underneath, you see them? This is going to look pretty. And with the other one, we're doing a chrome theme. With this one, we've got the black centers on the hubcaps. If you can see that there. If you can see my hubcap sitting here. Also, there's the black body accents on the vehicle. So I'm thinking we might get kind of neo with it. We'll make some suggestions about a neat front grille and some other things to really pull together the look of this car. Now, I explained to my customer that after this service, the ride height will increase, as what we're doing is putting new springs back under this. So the old springs are no longer there and tired. These are brand new and very perky. Now, some of this will settle out, and I have not done the front yet, so it's not a perfect demonstration. But right now, we're sitting at just under 28 inches from the ground right up to the fender well, and I want to say that was at 26 before we started. I've got a before and after picture on that. But a dramatic difference in that. Again, some of that's going to settle out. That won't stay that way forever, that high. But you do get a little increase out of these FCS struts. Not a bad thing. Not with these potholes and rolls. And boy, do these things handle better without those tired old springs. It's a beautiful sunset, and that means the end of the working day underneath the shade tree. Wildman Willie here, pleased to report the rear end is done on this car. So let's just take a look at a few things. As you can see here, I got my wheel painted behind my hubcap, and to me that really makes things pop quite a bit. Small little details, little touches, a quarter shot of spray paint, I mean not even much, dramatically changes the look of that. Now, I don't have the best light for the demonstration, but let's look at how the front ones that have not been done yet look. And you can see the wheel behind that. They're just kind of brown and such. It takes away when we put back. Again, I don't know how well you can see the difference, but there most definitely is a difference. Really brings out the quality and appeal of that hubcap and really makes it look like everything else I did was a better job. And that's the whole darn point. That's my old nuts in there. They're going in the junk. Old strut out on the ground. Maybe you can see things a little better from this side. Again, there's our additional ride height restored back to the rear of it. Front will be the same way when I'm done. And this is my before and my after. But beautiful work. That went just easy breezy, no problems there. I'll turn the car around. I'll stuff the stuff back in the trunk. I'll clean up my work area. Then it's time for me to head to the grocery store. I'm hungry, folks. Let's get something to eat. Hey, good morning, everybody. Wildman Willie here. It's a beautiful Tuesday morning. A little bit of clouds, a little bit of breeze, nice cool temperatures. And today is day 2 of the red team Delphi Jenkins Performance Carolla full chassis rebuild. So, today's going to go really smoothly. Got my fingers crossed for that. Love these little cars. Not too much to the job to be done. Very straightforward to me, especially doing a complete replace like this. Full disassembly not even required. We're going to pull it out in chunks, and I'm going to show you how. To get started, we're going to get the car lifted. We got to get the wheels chocked. Just got everything out. The tools are arranged. So, taking some time to get ready to begin the project, making sure everything is straightened out from yesterday. The less clutter and crap I got going on, the better situated it is, the more smoothly this will go. Should be textbook with the awesome generic one unit of car. Anyway, getting a little breezy out here. It's time to get started on this. Let the games begin. Alright folks, our first order of business of the day, before we get this car lifted, before we do anything else, we've got it maneuvered into its position where it can live for the duration of these repairs. That's step 1. Step 2, drive axle nut. These are always fun. Whatever gonads you possess, you're going to need them to get these loose. Great way to start the day. Get your shoulders moving. Look around for crap like this. Just in case my tool were to fail, or around the nut, something like that gets stupid. I don't want my head for that. We'll begin right here. Are we ready? Got it. All right. Off is not required, but both of those should be broken loose. It's a high torque situation. It's well over 100 pounds of torque. Depending how much corrosion is on your car, that may be more or less difficult. Definitely don't want to do that with this thing lifted up. So, step 1 complete on one side. Time to rinse and repeat on the other. Again, move your crap so you don't bash your skull. Rinse in position. And just whichever the beans. It's easier to push than to pull. Woo. This one's on good, folks. This one's on good. I got it though. I got it. So those of them broke loose. Breakfast of champions. Before we get too carried away on stripping this thing down to the ground, let's have a look at what things look like before. So, over 170,000 miles on this 2006 Carolla. Everything you see other than the brake set is going to be original on the car, to the best of my knowledge, and that should prove out. Everything has held up remarkably well. Given the state of things, there's not a whole lot of noise or any complaints really about the car, how it handles right now. But things are about to get a whole lot better, folks. As you can see, this original strut assembly, its boot has been defeated. and that has exposed the inner shaft. If it hadn't leaked out yet, that's just a freaking miracle. I mean, it does seem to have some rebound, but that's a nice new set is in order. Sway bar links, as you can see, I can move them by hand. So if I can do that easily, that's probably an indication them are ripe and ready to go. Nothing extreme about that. Tie rod end, relatively tight. Again, holding up well for its age. Control arm bushings back here, well, them could look a lot better, but not a lot of ride complaint from that. Ball joints underneath, again, dry, old. I bet it has a lot of slop in it when I got it off, but everything is holding together here excellently. So, why don't we just carpet bomb it with Delphi and make it all new? That's the plan. Let's get started. Alright, so the next task on our list is going to be to remove the brake set from this car. As you can see, I got everything jacked. I got a second jack here. It's not all the way up underneath it, but it's about a millimeter from it. If anything were to go, which it can't, we're even better. Brakes on this were done by Les Schwab, I imagine. They've used a Raybestos product, and I can't say that's bad. That's their EHTs, their Element 3, I imagine. Decent stuff. They've done all right there. There's significant pad life remaining. No immediate need for any brake maintenance. I'm going to degrease them though. But to start with, let's get that brake caliper off the car. So, we're in loosen mode. Yep. Got to make sure every time. Yepper. Got that loose. You see I got my little stand ready. That's pretty nice coating on that caliper. I do like how that is not browned out. I don't know how long that's been on the car specifically, but it's not brand new fresh. It'll look real pretty when I get it all cleaned off. Oh yeah, like that. Nice non-screwed up fasteners. So folks, these folks have definitely taken good care of cars in the past. If it had a need arise, they took care of it. I shudder to think of what this may have cost at the Les Schwab. However, it's your brakes. I expect you want the best brakes you can have at all times, and there are worse things than paying a little more than you should for a set of good brakes. Up next, well again, the idea is this strut's coming out and everything with it, so we want to give our brake cable or brake hose a little more play. That also appears to be a 14 millimeter on this car, which was wise of them. Now I don't know if Raybestos, when they made these calipers or whoever these are, they kind of look like New Geons to me. Hard to say though. That may not be the original size caliper bolts I took out. Let's see. But to make life easy, I'm just going to pop that out, move my hose over, and then I'm going to stick my bolt here, my Archimedes threaded material in that hole. Now I got more play with my caliper. I'm going to sit that nicely on that bracket and tuck it to the side there. So that's all up out of my way. That should be all I have to do for the brake hose side of things. It does not look like this car is equipped with ABS. We're going to have an extraneous tone wheel. No problem there. Up next, caliper bracket bolts. Looks like there are 17 on this particular specimen. We'll see how tight those want to be. You know where your hand will land. Alright, so I'm going to switch over from my 3/8. That's a little tighter than I want to do with that. We're going to get a combination wrench and a mallet to break those free. Save the ratchets for when things are spinning already. Now if you're going to do this, make sure that you don't have your caliper slide pin underneath your wrench. That would be a bad day. Again, I'm going to check which direction I'm going for sanity. Yep, that's loosened all day. I want to go down. So, wacky tap, 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 tap. See that, folks? Get her twist right on down. Rinse, repeat on this side. Now, this one is sticking out farther, so I don't want to go down farther than that caliper slide pin. So we'll get them started. Return my wrench to the position. Tappy, 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 tappy. How's that for impact tools, folks? So, now we can just get back in here with the ratchet, and it should be no problemo. Spin that out. Spin that out. Heck, I can even shorten my shaft for quicker spin. Before I come all the way out, we'll make sure this one's spinning, or else this whole thing will try to pivot. Oh yeah, there's a little more torque left on that. Alright. It's not quite time for the meat wrench. I'm gonna use the meat wrench on the top one. The meat wrench, folks. Here's my big claw hands. Mama, don't let babies grow up. Be mechanics. Is that one out? Now this one's pretty easy now. Spin around, spin around, spin around, spin around. Get my counterbalance, my thumper going. Alright, meat wrench it is for that step. Now, if you're really gentle, there's no reason you have to do it this way. But you can remove the entire caliper bracket with the brake pads just in place the way they are and set that to the side. Now, we'll see if our rotor... Oh, no, it ain't stuck. That's cool. Yours might be, in which case, this particular one don't have any screw holes, so it would be a thumping off with your mallet kind of ordeal. Thankfully on this one, that's not going to be the case. It's off with the rotor. Now we got the brake set exposed. Up next, we're going to tackle these guys. They look like 19s. Time for me to grab some more tools and regroup. Alright, down in the little hole here, got my brakes stripped free. Up next is my sway bar link. And remember I said I was going to take things out in chunks? No need to remove it, the top one. That can all just come out as one unit. So what I've gone ahead and done is I'm replacing these. So I've got a vice grip clamped on the inner shaft of that one. I may have to readjust. I'm going to go after the nut on the other side. Now, if for any reason you're reusing them, they do have a Torx head that can go in there and hold that still for you while you go after it with a standard wrench. Sometimes that's really hard to do depending upon the corrosion level. I say they gotta go. They're under $10 a piece or something like that. Real nice ones like these, maybe 15. So no reason to skimp on these, especially if you're replacing the struts. But I do understand if that's what the budget says. So we're going to try to do this way and see what happens. Now, access path, I had not predetermined. I'm going to shorten my wrench up a little bit. You know what? Aha. Okay. Can I hit it from the bottom? Which way we're going to go? That way? Which way am I going to hit you from? What is going on? Oh, I see. My wrench is impacting the control arm. So that's not going to be the appropriate tool. We'll break her loose with a combination wrench. Ought to give me the room I need to do that. Yes. Let's clear our brake caliper a little bit. Make sure I understand which way I'm going. And then down with it. And again, like everything, a pull bar is a nice idea too. But it's hard to get in there. So I'm just going to get that free. I'll protect that like that. Get that up out of my way. And then we're going to give her the bonky bonk. And that ought to just break things loose. Okay, definitely did. Now let's just finger tight. Out with the bad. And folks, I can't guarantee you the same results on yours, as it don't always happen that way. But I didn't even kill that boot. That would be technically reusable However, let's talk about a quick and easy test to see if your ball joints on these guys are any good. If it won't hold itself in place against gravity on its own weight, at least, if it does this, we can talk about that. But this, erectile dysfunction of the sway bar link, time for it to go. So that's out. Put our brake caliper back where I had it protected. Up next, there's their strut pinch bolts. See what those are going to be. I believe they're going to be a 19. Yes, they are. All right, now these are going to be a high torque application as well. So I got my pull bar. Reference my crap. So I just want to pull straight down. Might have to go at it from this side and go up. Now I do have a longer leverage situation if I need it. I don't want to hit the fender. Okay, well, we don't need nothing. We got this. All right, so break them loose. Okay, but don't get too froggy and extract that. Get down here on this bottom one. Get it broke loose too. So I can clear the fender. Yes, it is. Watch your fender. Last thing you want to do is plonk. Work the hell out of that. All right, so that's loose enough to turn now. I can switch back over to my 3/8 19, which would be totally inappropriate. Break that torque loose. But now we're back in reasonable land, I think. Oh yeah. So now that we got our free spinning, hold the bolt portion still. Give that my little double time action there. Remove the nut. Leave it in. Some cars they want to kick out and such. Then that makes it harder to deal with the bottom one. So leave it in there as a peg. Also, be as careful as you can not to go mashing on that backing plate. If you warp it, it can rub on the brake rotor and make a whole lot of unhappy customer god-awful noises that makes it sound like the whole front end's going to fall apart. Never what you want when you're doing this. Of course, if you do warp it, which I'm likely to, happens just about every time, what you want to do is check for that once you got the brake set back on the car. And if it's bent up, looks be damned, bend it away from the rotor until you no longer have noise, is how you deal with that. Okay, so those pinch bolts, both of them are freed up. Again, I still left them in there. We got some securement. Now we're going to go to the top side. Okay, time to extract this strut. Top side's going to be real easy to deal with. Appears to be the factory options, and this is the 12 millimeter up here. Nothing to strip loose, you just get at it. This is why I left them bottom bolts kind of stuck through, so that this guy won't just fall out. Not all y'all will be changing out the CV axle and everything, in which case you want to protect that from the strut falling down and bashing the boot. But all three of them is now loosened. I'm just going to spin off them nuts, get the meat wrench in action. I'd like to measure the torque to just exactly what I can turn with a thumb and forefinger one day. Interesting experiment. Well, this last one tightens back up a bit as the strut is trying to drop some. We'll just spin that out like that. Probably technically back finger tight, but why make ourselves hurt? Because they pay us? Yeah, that's a good reason. Hang on to these just in case anything happens, but your new strut assembly is going to come with that. So now, out with the bolt, pull that away from itself, and guide the strut assembly out from underneath the vehicle. And what I like to do is take my nuts that came off, just go ahead and stick them back on there, so I don't have any questions about where the hell they came from. Let's examine what came out just a little bit. Bearing. Hell, sometimes it amazes me what comes out of the cars. Again, it's old. It's definitely seen its day. It's time for it to go. It's going to be so much better. That being said, this could be hell of more decrepit. Let's see if this is a KYB installed part as expected, or if it is marked. Rip the shaft. Oh, here we are. Yep, KYB was the original equipment. See how my new tire rod ends? Well, I'll show that in better view. All right, as with everything, time to rinse, repeat on the other side. We're doing it one side at a time. I'm just showing you the one side until we get into something that's actually different or needs more explanation. All right, Pacific Northwest zest. I live where the climate is the best. It's raining on me a little bit, but I'm not going to let that stop me at this point. Up next is get this axle nut off the rest of the way so that I can free my knuckle assembly, move that out this way, and then I can remove my control arm bolts. But to do that, I've gone ahead and I've got my vice grips here clamped down to the thin part of the axle. Now, you could do this by sticking a screwdriver in the brake set of the other side before you have everything stripped down. That's an entirely acceptable way as well. But this time, I already went and broke it loose. There's more than one way to go about things. So, let's see. Oh yeah, it's not going to give me too much trouble. It's just going to come right on out of that. Now, sometimes it'll get tighter again as you encounter corroded threads exposed into the nut, much like I am right now. Yeah, come on. The torque that's requiring is varying throughout the stroke. Almost out. Arm day at the gym. Here comes the rain again. Okay, well, we're just turning that axle now. We need to tighten things up. See, there's that corrosion I was talking about. Now, if that becomes a real big problem here, which I doubt it will, then I'll show y'all a couple of tricks how to deal with it. Clamp that in. That is tighter. So what we'll do first, I'm going to tighten it back in. You just tighten it back in a little bit. There you go. And then we'll work it back past it. See if the threads have already been worked. And it's just more inspired to cooperate with me. And it should be meat rich time. Woo. Yeah. Hercules strong hands. Feel a little bit wet. My coolant system keeping me in good shape. Alright. That drive axle is now extracted from there. Now I can deal with the tie rod end. Won't be too big of a deal to deal with that. Castle pin, a cotter pin, one castle bolt. We're going to get that lifted up and out of our way. And it sure is a pretty one. Looks like a factory unmessed with one to me. Alright, I got that wiggling. Get these guys. I love my locking pliers, folks. I use them for lots of things. I have several different kinds, and I'm always interested to get a new different pair. So there's that cotter pin out. I'm going to put that nut back on the end of that axle. So this one appears that it's going to be number 17, perhaps. Perhaps. We'll see. That's the number 17. Now, good. These usually ain't under the most torque in the world. We'll see. Now, little trick. Take out one of these bolts here. And and I'll be right back. Standard tire iron. Probably got one of these. Run that through there. All right, now I got something to bear against. To do that, without that flopping around everywhere. Loosen that nut up. Now, two options. Pickle fork or presser. Presser is better if it'll grab around it. We're going to give it a try. Getting back in action here. Between the raindrops, I got my ball joint extractor tool, and it's a little wide for this little bitty knuckle, but it's still a preferable method to a pickle fork if I can possibly help it, especially on this little bitty knuckle. Not like I do a lot of damage with that thing, but it can mar things up. And again, trying to do this in a way that if you're having to do it yourself, if you're not replacing absolutely everything like I am, so that you'll still have some reusability on your parts. I'm just going to tuck that in there like that. I believe that'll get it. Before I do that though, I'm going to break loose this jam nut. 19 for gauge. Is 19. Okay, let's look at it. It wants to turn towards the middle of the car. Might be a high torque situation. Again, I don't need to spin this hardly at all because I want it for reference. I just want it loose. Broke free. Are you broke free? No, you're not. Not as of yet. Let's get the situation. Ooh, they're good. Alright. Yeah, I ain't worried about none of this stuff. Well, if we're not hitting that sway bar, that would be better for everything involved. Go ahead and get this bad boy in a bind. Yeah, I don't care. There it is. Alright, just wanted to get that happening before I separated my ball joint. Let's leave that in position. Have something to lean against. Oh, look. See how it is out here pouring rain 1 second? Sun come out the next. So, with this, just tighten it down. Whole thing. There it is. There's the tie rod in. Get away from the knuckle. So that leaves not terribly much to extract this cat. Got this big bolt underneath, and this big bolt right here, and then this control arm and knuckle assembly will come out. However, it'll be easier to deal with that with it hanging. I won't bend up my dust shield. So we'll just go ahead and get the control arm off the ball joint, or at least get the nut loose. Well, we're not going to remove the ball joint assembly from the control arm. We're not going to bother with that step. Because we're going to stick on new control arm assemblies. And when I do that, they're going to have their ball joints attached to them beforehand. Now, one thing I need to listen to myself, these cotter pins are not just allowed to live in the yard. They've got to go somewhere. We'll set them there. Gosh, that sunshine on my shoulder, it makes me happy. All right, I believe this is a 19. It may be bigger. No, 19 it is. 19 it is. Of course, put the bar in here. You see. Ooh. Tighty, tight, tight. Now we can go ahead and get this off there. Check your righty tighty, lefty loosey. Got it? Alright. Spin this off. We may or may not have to use our little ball joint tool again. We're ready to if we need to. I'm just going to lift off. Not today. Okay. So what's our stabber? I feel like Van Helsing myself today. Alright, so we're going to set up on our ball joint with our popper. On like Donkey Kong. See nothing wrong with that setup, okay. Just tighten this guy on, and it should go pop. Like a weasel. Just like that. When you get the pop, that means she's loose and free. Off comes the knuckle assembly. Set that to the side. Be nice to me. Alright. That leaves us with the control arm. Let's see what size that's going to be. Are you 21? No, not quite age. Okay. Run away. Get near that. Let's see. Are you 19? 19 feels like wrench on there. So we're going to go ahead and jam the big wrench in position on top of that nut. At some point it'll start spinning. Sure will. We're going to get our 19 out. It's 21. Need the one for the big pull bar. I'm going to have to Hercules this a little bit. I'm doing what I tell you not to do. I'm getting a pile of shit up around here. Makes things more interesting. Clean things up just a little bit even as we go. Oh yeah. Improvement on the way. Lots worse before though. I'll say that again. Alright. That's tightening. That's loosening. Don't laugh at me, you should recheck too. Especially if you're about to fight Boltzilla. Now, this is a view. Make sure I'm wrenching on appropriately. Oh yeah. And that is broke loose. Let's see if I'll be so fortunate on this guy. Yes, I will. Alright, so my control arm pressing at the free pump. Just like that. Let's go ahead and twist this one out here. Switch over to a more manageable tool. I think is a good idea. So I'm loosen. Yep. Oh yeah. It's the right way now. Let's get this one turned a little more before we drop that first one. You don't believe me. All that beautiful Toyota Carolla folks. Alright, we're gonna have to cut film because they're gonna play loud copyrighted music. That's gonna make me lose footage. We're gonna try to finish this little clip. We're gonna talk over them. And hopefully that won't end up in the background. There's that bolt out. Get back in position and get this one out. And let's get this control arm out of this on this cut. What do you say, folks? Think I can get it out on this cut? Or they play too much music and get me a copyright strike? Can't have none of that crap. Alright, keep spinning, keep spinning, keep spinning, keep spinning, keep spinning. That's the nut out. Pulled out. That's that. That's three. Wiggle it towards me. Stop beating my hand up on that. There a little bit. Add some bush overhauls. There's that. And then there's that. There is the control arm extracted from the car. Okay, folks, the job continues, but honestly, at the moment, there's a whole bunch of loud noise over there at that track. You probably hear it in the background, a lot of irritating music, a lot of people parking, coming and going. So I don't think right now is the perfect moment for me to be flying a transmission in the air and be all the way up to my neck underneath that car with all that going on. So I'm moving over to my parts and doing a little bit of pre-assembly. As you can see, I've got my marked old struts out so I could easily figure out exactly how my sway bar links orient. And same deal with my passenger side control arm. Real easy to tell which side is which side. So I'm just going to start by tightening in my fasteners. Now, it looks like Toyota used one size and they use a bigger size. Ain't nothing wrong with that. Comparing the two parts, looks like there's a little more metal. I don't know if y'all can see that. Let's take a closer look. So these welds, well, there's more weld material there. They're a little uglier, but there is more control arm steel here, it looks like. It does appear to be thicker. Our control arm bushing is good and thick. It's not too short. You know, I've had on some inexpensive versions of this part that be a little bit thinner. Yeah, good and thick is good for the car. Might be fun to install. A little bigger lobe on the end. So this is going to be real nice. Again, we got a little extra piece of metal right here. Runs all the way out to the bushing, where that's just a hollow spot. So all in all, it's a big beefy part. There are some differences from the original, that's for sure. But I don't think any of them are really negatives as far as I'm concerned. Let's go to tightening this stuff up a little bit. This one's the bolt that runs all the way through. And the other ones are nylon nuts. That in there real good. And just like anything I work on, I'm just going to do that till, oh look, I got to the bottom. And then I'm going to move over to the others. It's not time to torque anything down yet. You pose a little more resistance, because they've got those nylons. So I'm just going to close it. About closed. Close it. See how that changed? But this one changed too. Yepper. So we're closed to hand tight, not final tight. on all fastenings. Have a closer look at the ball joint assembly. As you can see, there's some nice stuff we got going on here, that's for sure. That sticks up a little bit further, won't be a problem. Got a double ridge in our boot instead of one big fat one. On one, I felt so much worse, but see, they wake up after a couple of wiggles. Wobbly enough. The control arm bushing was the main part. We certainly press that out, especially when we get a new, bigger, meaner model. On next to the struts, as you can see here, I've already got this one tightened down, but again, this is a nylock situation. Now, this isn't exactly the perfect size, but it's good enough. I just want to hold still with that. I want to turn with the 19. Again, this is bigger, beefier stuff than what it did come with. So all my fasteners have enlarged. Tighten it up, tighten it up. We're doing a little pre-assembly, getting things ready to go on the car. I hope to have all disassembly of the vehicle done by tonight. I hope to have the axles out and the sway bar bushings out. And I still need to fly that transmission. But you know, if it don't go that way, folks, it don't go that way. It's been rainy, it's been cold. That don't hold me up. Don't make me go faster either. But with that track meet, I have to watch what I'm doing and not get smushed. Again, not the final tight there, folks. Just pre-assembled. Then what we'll do, there's a little bolt over here for the brake hose. Go ahead and transfer that over. So now those are assemblies. I'll go get my other control arm and my other ball joint, put it together. The adventure continues. Despite all the distractions going on across the road, making all that noise, I'm going to keep working here doing what I can. So up next, we're going to extract this inner tie rod end. To do that, the first step is to get the boot off. Thankfully, this one here is a plastic boot instead of a rubber boot, which means my life is going to be much easier cutting it off of there. So I got my spring clip removed. Next thing I want to do is stare around at it until I find where the collar band is. It's right over here. So what I want to do with that is get my big, egregiously long screwdriver and stick it right in the loop of that. I want to twist it, break it loose, and bust it. I've done that. And now that boot should be free from the inner. And then I'll push the ring back over. Now, a lot of times they won't slide over. So that's why I'm thankful this one's plastic. What we do is just go to fillet and start at the very back. Just get her cutting. Just saw her all the way through. We got a brand new one to go on. Now, if you don't have a brand new one to go on, good luck to you. You freaking should. These just about aren't ever reusable. So again, I just want to go all the way through it. So now I can just peel that off and don't have to fight that too much. Get the ring out of there. Now, up next, we'll get our extraction tool on the job. Outer tie rod end tool, which this one's doable with a wrench by a normal human. But why play around? I'm going to take my little crow's foot here. This is my 32.5 millimeter. Seems to be the correct answer. We'll put it down on there like that. Yep, that's good. Got my jaws open on that, so I'm going to slip it in there. I'm going to hold it towards me. Then I'm going to rotate this ring. Rotate the ring so that it grasps it in place. Well, easier said than done, but like I say, I got Ford F-150s trying to back over me while I'm doing this. Grrr! It's okay. I'm out here doing it in the community. I have to respect the community or let them do their thing. They like me. They're good to me most of the time. If that wasn't up in my way, it'd be easier. Why am I trying to slide? I'm trying to rotate. I'll rotate that color that way. So, and this bastard's in my way. I wish it wasn't. Let's see. Can I make life any better by any means? Sure. That works. Alright. See, folks, we just figured out as we go. 32 on it. Now that's out of the way and I can see what I'm doing. Slip that over that. Rotate the collar. Yep. Alright. Now we'll wrench on that. Let's get our pull bar on it. And that ought to be tight and that ought to be loose, huh? So, big mag light looking thing. Oh, we gotta pull it back into position. Got it. So, really not hard to do these. On these, at least. A whole lot easier than it could be. So I just slip that over like that. Remove my cup. And there's my tie rod end as an assembly. Ready to come out. Up next on this, and now it sure will be easier to get it if you ever had to do it without this, then you'll be understanding why I'm happy. Sway bar bushing normally has this tie rod in your way where you can't put your hand there. Sure is a better situation now. So I'm going to go get my 12 millimeters, come right back and get that started. As you can see, without your inner tie rod end in the way, there's tiniest bit of leakage there, but we're not going to be too concerned with that today. It's not bad. Anyway, we can get to our 12 millimeter here so much more nicely without that tie rod end in the way. It's a real fight to do it otherwise. Boy, people are just freaking lost their minds about parking on top of me. I'm gonna have to. Alright, the parking insanity continues all around me and it's really distracting. People are careless and we just had somebody come within about an inch of the bumper while I was up under here working. And if they'd have hit it, that'd have been the end of old Willie, but at least we might have had a video, right? I'll quit bitching and get back to work. I don't mind the community, but I would like a little more respect out of the parkers. And next time they're having one of these track events, I am blocking this shit off where nobody gets to fucking park. Anyway, now that I'm done bitching, let's get our 12 millimeter bolts out for our sway bar bushing. So that's otherwise very hard to access with the tie rod end in the way. Again, I don't mean to bitch about other people's behavior. And I'm out here in the street doing stuff. But at the same time, it's very obvious this isn't the place to park right now. And people can give me a little more respect. Yeah, after this I'm closing then, because I hear myself. I hear the negativity in my voice being caused by the distraction, and that won't be good for the end product. Or my safety for that matter. Alright, which way does that need to turn? Towards me, okay. So let's turn it towards me. As you can see, how I access this one is from the back side up underneath. There's no way to get a ratchet in that, but you shouldn't need one. After just a couple more turns, it'll become a thumb wrench situation. Oh, look, I think that's it. I think we're to finger tightness now. Maybe. And so far on this one, I haven't had a chance to do any real beautification customization. Anything to match the red up top. So I'm going to give this just the tiniest hint of color. I'm going to paint these shackles red. That's what I'll do. And that'll make me feel less pissed off about what's going on out here at the moment. Maybe by the time I'm done, all they'll be cleared out and the sky will the sun will come out. It'll be a sunshiny, warm day, and I'll have this done today. Much more realistic is full disassembly today. Well, that was close to my face, it felt like. Don't be scared. Okay, so sway bar itself is totally disconnected. There's bushing out, or bushing clamp out. Bushing retainer. The dingus, folks, the dingus is out. And now, we just massage the bushing off, which these little bitty tired, rough old bushings, so that wasn't hard. So that is now out. Okay, what a way to start the day. First order of business is extraction of this CV axle. Now, this can be more or less difficult just depending upon the universe and how it wants to act. They can fight quite a bit or they can pop right out. We don't know how this one's going to go. I am prepared with my special tool, no matter what kind of fight it gives me. In any event, we just start by plucking. Ain't nothing to it but to do it. So the car is very secured. Let's check that again. Yep, I'm happy with that. Now, you want to hold it as straight as possible so that your force goes where it wants it. Make sure your neck and back is ready to go, and snatch, snap, snap. So she is not just going to snatch out by hand. So what that means, what we're going to do is take our knife and put a slice in that boot. That boot is now sliced. I got my handy dandy extractor tool. I may have to slice the boot elsewhere, we'll see. This is what we call the slide hammer CV axle extractor. And that is not a sufficient bite. Oh shit, I gotta tune it to the specific axle. Let's go ahead and cut away the rest of our boot. That was pretty easy. And get this down to where we're just a cup to deal with. That's all we want. A lot of times that just pops off of there, rips off. This time we cut it. Alright, let me go grab something to adjust my vice grips. Unless there's a fatter spot on the axle that they can grab. That's pretty substantial. Okay, let's see what happens. Right out with it. Okay, so that's how I like to extract a CV axle. Slide hammer with a pair of vice grips on it. I feel like that makes so much shorter work than any other method I got. You see up in here an axle seal I'm going to deal with. That's good. Still got this control arm in. We dented that pan yesterday, or it's got a dent in it. We'll say I dented it. That's fair. Y'all saw me picking it up. So that pan's going to get drained and dropped, and a new filter installed, and I'm going to pop that small dent out of the pan. But extracting your CV axles, you can see how I put mine together. It's a slide hammer, some band clamps on a pair of pliers here. Maybe you can actually buy one arranged this way, but in my opinion, that's just absolutely the only way to go about it. Labor saver, no prying involved, not going to bust nothing. Now that one on the other side's long, so we'll see how much fun it is, but the same concept, we'll get it done. I sure do love it when a plan comes together. That was awesome and easy. The axle plucker. There just ain't no other way. Anything else is just freaking stupid. That inside one was just as easy. I didn't even snatch it. I just went up in there and cut the boot and extracted its big knee joint and got my grappers on there and gave it 2 tugs, and we're out and trying to get up underneath that to that central shaft or to that central location. You see, that's a long boy. That's all the way up under the car. I'd much rather be under the car using a pocket knife to cut an axle boot in half so that I can just grab a cup than I would to be all the way up under the car like that with any kind of hammer or prying implement or any other bullshit. So if you're going to do CV axles, even if you're only going to do it once, a slide hammer with that, and I mean, you don't have to make your own like a hillbilly like me, and they can be purchased. It's worth your money. If it's under $100, hell, it'll save you $100 frustration. I promise. I promise. I promise. Only way to go. Well, pro tip there for you. Hope you enjoyed. Okay. So it appears in order to fly this properly, on this particular one, we've got to unbolt the motor mount from the subframe rather than just undoing the bolt and trying to go straight up with it. Now, for the life of me, I don't know why that would be different, but you know what? It needs to be different because my first attempts didn't work. So what we got here is a 14 millimeter. Yep, that's right. We're in loosen mode. Yeah, that's right. And up underneath here deep. Let's just deal with the thing. Get that one loosened. Now, it can't fall through me, folks. Ain't nothing to be really worried about that. And there sure wasn't a whole lot of torque holding that together. So, honestly, I will say, that's easier to try to line up that bolt through the middle of that bushing. We're down to finger tight. You just unscrew them guys. So that's the bolt. That's the bolt. That may be fun to line back up. We shall see. But yeah, no, that should take care of that travel problem. Should. On the front side at least. You got nowhere to go but home. And the good news is, if it does come out of lineup, you can just shove this bad boy around. There's only 300 and something pounds of engine and transmission here. I'm about 165 pounds, something like that. So, I'm big enough to motivate it around. Alright, so, yeah, that certainly does move around. That won't be impeding me anymore. Good. Okay. Now back here on the back side, I got the transmission mount side of things. I believe it's going to be this nut, this bolt, and then something through that through hole. Maybe more than that. We shall see. Yeah, there ain't even any force on that. Sitting still. So let's see. Yep, that's a 14 millimeter as well. Helps to have y'all to talk to with my claustrophobia with all this machinery over my head. Yeah, we got that spinning. Let's see about this guy. Yeah, I've got that one spinning all right. Now, there's probably something back here, yeah. Six down, get some leverage up. Okay. I don't know if this is related, but why not? I couldn't foresee it happening more than that. Alright, so, if I'm correct, that stud locates. That does run out through the mounts. I can see that one does for sure. So that's out. And we'll see how tight or not these guys are. Oh, that's pretty loose now. The way they're turned tells me I'm on the right fasteners. Alright. There's that nut out. Well, hopefully they make for the steering rack instead of the mount. But no problem if they are. We'll get them back where they go. But I believe that's our mount situation freed. So, let me get the little jack underneath it in the correct position, and let's see what we find out. Well, folks, if at first you don't succeed, stop and think about what the hell you're trying to do. As y'all might have seen in some previous clips, I had an enormous problem trying to get the damn this engine to fly properly so that I could extract the lower control arm front bolt. Every time I'd get it, I'd be within about a 1/4 inch of it. And I could not get that bolt to be shy of that. And the reason why is I had disconnected every motor mount on this car except the one right over my head that I couldn't see because I'm a dumbass, that I know is there and have accessed and done on so many other cars. Well, it just eluded me. I guess I was distracted. Now, why am I taking the bracketry side off? Well, this one is really clear. This makes it a whole lot easier to line up once Newton hold this engine in there, and makes it a whole lot harder for me to drop this or screw up. If I take that bolt out, yes, but I got to have it supported the entire time. If I don't take that bolt out, then this bracket will hold this up until I'm underneath it and ready to give it a push-up. So we're just going to get these 14mm bolts out of that. There's one on the front and one on the back. They're a little more access challenged, but nothing you can't get your hands on. You probably don't need my 24-inch extension for this. Maybe none would be best. So, yeah, folks, happens to everybody. I know what to do. Ain't my first one of these for sure. However, I won't even call it complacence. I won't make excuses. Shit happens, folks. In this instance, all it did was slow me down and make me grumpy. That's about all. Ain't nothing hurt about the situation. So no tears. All that being said, I might put a bolt back in one of the other routes before I go much further. In fact, I think I will. I don't even need that much out of that. That is moving forward a little bit. I think I'd like to secure things. I think I'm going to tie her up on this side, give her a backstop. This may be a little bit of an unnecessary step too, but I had loosened this one on this side up because it was there. But I didn't take the bolts all the way out of it. We're just going to tighten them bad girls back down. I want limits and direction of travel of some freaking kind. This bolt goes in there. I've got it. But that was probably it. Or that will service it. Got my green mark on it. Which means I previously called it tight. That's probably how it got under the car in the first place. Retrieve that again. Oh, that's axle grease. Okay, I thought maybe that was a problem. Well, it gives a little to be desired on its lineup. I'll loosen and see if we can correct that, but I'm not going to get too gung-ho because, like I say, the rest of the motor mounts are disconnected. So this thing will move around quite a bit. Well, what that don't need is cross-threading. What we're going to do, tie that down like it sits. We'll get everything adjusted square. And we got everything on the car. Okay, that ought to safety me. I'm looking for it mentally. Let's twist back over here. See if that bracket continues to move that direction as I loosen that bolt. You gotta get something underneath that before I go any further. I don't love that. I don't want that to slip off or shit. Let's safety ourselves. Let's get it ready to fly. The longest day. I have reassessed and regrouped this situation, and I believe I have the path forward at hand. I believe we're smarter now. I believe we're going to have victory. I really do. Let's go for it. This engine should fly up higher now than it did before. Not a whole lot arguing. Yeah, the back mount is loose. That's that home. Should be able to get it. Keeping a close eye on my jack stands, making sure they're not getting loosened up on me again. Some creepy crap when they do. Just a little bit more, it looks like. Just a little bit more. Really shy. Really shy. Jack stands still tight this time. Let's just fucking work fast. I had to tighten it back up in a hurry to get it back down. Last time I fucked with it, because it was interfering, it was shifting towards the rear. Of course, this bolt. What's stubborn? Nothing we can't fix. Nothing we can't turn. Nothing we can't turn. Can we get this a little bit higher? That's as high as I dare go. Spooky enough as it is. Quit stubborn. Don't let me reach you the entire way. Loose tight, loose tight, loose tight. Fight the whole damn way. Victory. Put this out of my way. Get that lifted up. Get it out quickly. I don't like being in this damn position with it. Normally I spend a lot of time beautifying shit. Not this time, not this hole. I just want to wipe the shit out of that hole. Wipe the shit out of that hole. Let's get our beautiful new part stuck in that hole. Beautiful. Love that. get it past that, I'll be more comfortable. Just don't like it when it's underneath the pan. Everything shifted. Who put shit in the nozzle body? See? I just want to get that closed enough to get this bastard back down. I don't normally miss like that. Let's get back in the rhythm. Oh, there ain't no rhythm past that. Get back in the rhythm. Back in the rhythm. Back in the rhythm. Rhythm is a dancer. It's the soul's companion. You can feel it in the air. Oh, it's a passion. Oh, you can feel it everywhere. Oh, it's a passion. Oh. Snap. I don't have to go all the way home tight. Just want no bolt head everywhere. Okay. Now that that's in, and victory is mine on that stage, most important part, let's go ahead and get this engine set back down. No need to fly it any longer than necessary. Looks like we can just go straight down and then we can shove things around, but that it'll be stable straight down. Appears okay. So there's a couple turns. Let me have a look again. More. Looks acceptable to me. It's not exactly where I want it. I can shove her around in Funky Town while I get her back on the ground. I can jimmy that back where she needs to go. I'm gonna leave that supported for a minute. All right, let me regroup. It's cigarette time, folks. I am a firm believer that sway bar bushings are most easily taken care of on these cars and most others. Well, you got your tie rod ends and everything else out of the situation. Now I can actually think about getting my hand back there. So here goes our. Should be pretty easy to install this one. You've seen me fight with my hands before. That wasn't too bad. I'll just set that down right there. Now, I did some special custom work on this car. You know, it's the red team. So here's our little, just a splash of color on the undercar. Just one little piece on both sides. It's gonna be bright red under there. If I can get my hands through it around the camera. Let me just pull that forward to get that on there. Yeah, come on. Why are you having so much trouble today, Willie? Because you got a camera in front of your head? Probably. Oh, my jack fell on the other side. That's why. I had the sway bar sported. It's kind of free now. Shit. Let me get it back where it goes. Alright. What we're probably going to do here in a second is get the damn camera out of the way. If it keeps being irritational to me. Oh no, it's pretty good. It's pretty good. Just need to line up with our holes right there. And we're all the way to the stopper on that. Good. All right. Let's get one of my bolts in it. Shit. I traded the trickiness of tie rod ends in the way for the trickiness of a phone in the way. One not's happy. Get in here with the little guy. Don't move that around too much right now. Alright. Now she's thinking about being started at least. Before I reef down on nothing, I'm gonna give this bad boy the reach around from underneath where I cannot see. Oh, seems like I did that pretty damn successfully as far as lining that up, folks. It's amazing what I can do by feel sometimes. Alright, so that one's a little tighter. Let's go back to this front one. This is going to be the main deformer of this situation to close that bushing into shape, it looks like, which is fine by me. It's way easier to get some torque on this side than it is the other side. Well, there's crap in your way no matter what. But that's what our little bitty tool here is for. Okay. That gives me a little more room to get a turn on that. That's nice. Now, as with everything, before I get too gung-ho, I'm going to rinse and repeat on the other side with that. So that I'm not locked into anything I don't want. Like, see how that won't move? That's just my control arm. So, okay, that's loose installed. Let's rinse and repeat on the other side. Well, happy Friday, everybody. Wildman Willie here, getting ready to get started. A little bit late on what's shaping up to be, right now, what's really beautiful Friday morning. Folks, there's been some odd energy in the universe lately. I don't think I'm the only one who's been experiencing it. Not gonna call it bad, just the tension. Well, today's the day I'm gonna bust through that shit and get this thing done, or at least really close. Got the transmission fluid draining right now. We got that dented transmission pan, that ain't so bad, but a perfect opportunity to change the transmission filter that, according to the customer, there's no record of this ever having been changed. So it's possible the universe will send me up there for a reason. We'll see. Impasse is done on the lower control arm. That's all done. It's all put together as it stands. Tonight, we're going to get the great deluge. We're going to get a 1/2 inch of rain. Customer would like to pick up tomorrow. I got to get as much done as I can before the rain starts. And then hopefully I'll just be getting a little bit wet when I'm finishing things up. I might get the tent out. We might go all ham on it. One way or the other, though, progress is ready to be made. We're in the Lego stage now. New parts going on the car is the order of the day. Anyhow, I hope all of y'all are going to have a great Friday. Enjoy it. Catch the good energy. Try to out with the bad energy. I'm doing it symbolically with this whole transmission fluid right now. Out with the bad, and purge the filtration. Have fun, everybody. The weather is bearing down on me fast, but we will achieve what we can achieve. And what we've achieved so far is to get this dented oil pan down, get the filter changed, which had never been changed, get a new gasket installed, get it cleaned up decently and painted, dents out enough, there ain't no problem in there, and get it back on the car. So that's all tightened and sequenced, and it should be all good. We'll recheck it. Up next is the axle seals. After that, I can stick axles in it. So we are making heavy progress quick, but the gloom is coming, and they're calling for 3 inches of rain. So let's rock. That's all we can do. Making progress as I go. We've got the inner tie rod in, and we got its boot secured, and boy, that was a whole lot easier boot to secure than the one on that Tornado. It was an all-day ordeal. On this, it was just pluck spurt. Easy peasy. Got the new outer tie rod end on. Interesting. Threads are a little skinnier rod than the original. It does thread on properly. It does hold on properly. You can't swap that nut to the other one. It fits. I've double cross-referenced everything. Yep, it's fine. Aftermarket fun. Delphi Technologies, but they hadn't let me down. The damn thing's solid with the jam nut in place, which that's just a mock-up. Everything's just a mock-up too. I hadn't tightened down anything, and it's not time to do so yet. But reassembly is continuing. Up next on this corner is a CV axle shaft, and then a strut assembly. Got the old axle seal out. Got the new axle seal greased as fuck and started in. That's just finger pushed in, but she's straight at the moment. We're going to use the old one to push it in, and I'm going to go find some shit to push on that with. But as you see, the great deluge has got here. No, I will not welt. I'm relatively dry. But regardless of me being undercover, water does drip out of the drip points of the car. We're all right now. We'll see how much more I get done, though. Fun, happy times. But all I got to do is get that axle seal in there, and then I can have reassembly on this corner done real quick. It's not so damn bad. Call the customer already. Let them know we're probably facing delays. They're real cool about it. They just want to see it be awesome, which that's all I will turn loose to them. I refuse to do anything otherwise. So again, happy fun times at the Ponderosa. Nothing to cry about here. Just taking my time doing this one right. And I'm going to go find something to mash on that with that won't fuck it up. It's raining, it's pouring. This old man ain't been snoring. Not yet, at least. That's here in a minute. I have a soft install done on the red team Carolla, at least one corner of it. This is driver's side. Got our new CV axle in. Got our new ball joint installed. That's down tight. Got my sway bar link installed. Got my tie rod ends installed. Sway bar bushing installed. Transmission pan painted red. Everything looking pretty darn nice up underneath this one. But as you can see, the rain is intensifying. And I don't mind getting a little bit wet, but when my feet are getting soaked in the lake, that's when it's time to call it. So we've reached the end of the day's adventure, or at least the end of this moment's adventure. We are officially rained out this minute. But that being said, look at this beautiful car, folks. Again, nothing is marked WJ because every bit of this is just all not on. But mock it up before you cock it up. Soft install the thing. See if you have issues. If you do, you can correct them before you tie things down to the bottom. Well, welcome to the Pacific Northwest in spring, folks. My tools are getting wet. They stay nice and brown. It's all going to be all right. I'm going to go in there and kick my feet up and smoke a bowl here in a minute. Maybe eat some bacon. Fuck it. We're done until this calms down. It sure is a rainy day here in the Pacific Northwest. It's more than just zest, it's a total rain out. We're inches deep in water everywhere. There's just the tiniest island underneath my little canopy here. And it's going from pouring cats and dogs to pour just cats, then going back to dogs. Unfortunately, it appears all work for today is raining the hell out. If you're waiting on the car, oh boy, I wish I could do something with it for you. I'm not afraid to get wet, but I have to swim to be on it right now. And, it's just gross. So today is at the house day, doing laundry day, clean the bathroom day, bake a cake day. I mean, like I say, I do have the tent, but again, I can't do shit in that. You wouldn't want me to do shit in that. There is no dry spot. I don't have a wet spot, folks. Anyhow, there's just nature's way of forcing me to take a day off before I go the rest of the way crazy and become completely unproductive for the long term. You know, you gotta have a bit for yourself. Here it is. I've been forced. Well, I don't know how much rain they say we're supposed to get. It doesn't even matter. What is this, Ferenginar? That's what I need to do, is figure out what those Ferengi words for rain are. I heard there were like 36 of them or something. Anyway, my cake is in the oven. That's going to be delicious. Oh yeah, here it comes. Here's Oregonian rain for you. Every kind of rain there is. Would you look at that, folks? I got the front end soft installed together. I got my new tie rod ends in on the inside. Recycled my clips. That looks better any damn way. Better anyway in every form. Got the new axle in. So all this is soft installed, meaning ain't not one bolt on it truly tight, but it's all there and it's all hanging. So I'm going to take a quick break. I'm going to go refresh myself on the torque specifications, see which ones are critical or not. And then we're going to come out here and tighten some more bolts and sanity check this car. Looks like we might have some rain come through in a minute, but it's been dry for me enough to get this done. So it's in, but it's been a while apart. So I got to think my way back through everything and make sure everything is all good. Sorry about missing some steps on camera, but we got to a point where I just had to knock shit out. And well, you saw me take it off. It goes back on as it came off. And I mean, I have some stock footage I can use of replacing exactly this strut in the past. But looking great up under here, liking what I see. Looks like a pretty setup. I'm excited. So let's take a quick break. Let's make sure my head's on straight. And then let's tighten up the Carolla. Well, it has been a fun afternoon out here, kneeling at the altar of Toyota. But I'm proud to say she's installed, folks. There's transmission fluid to be added to this car. There's a little bit of an alignment adjustment to be made to this car from where we're at. But everything is tied down tight as it needs to be to drop it on the ground. That leaves recheck of axle bolts and final tight on the front control arm bolt. So as you can see here, everything is nice and labeled up the way it ought to be. No job complete without the initials. You got them all over the place on this one. Lower control arm, strut assembly, sway bar link, bushings, the outer and inner tie rod ends. What else did we do here? The lower ball joint. Might be able to see my initials on that. Maybe not, but they are there. Got the brake set all installed, marked up. Everything's right and tight on this side. Let's go look at the other side real quick. See how quick that's a nice new brake rotor. There's nothing wrong with these brakes. Sure does turn brown fast out here in this weather. Let's go have a look at this side. Still need to add transmission fluid. Make sure the dipstick's sticking the fuck out so that you can't make no mistake. Well, we'll get away from the battery terminal at least. This side, same deal. Everything is installed like it needs to be. Lower control arm bolts are tight, except for that front one is just hand tightened. Strut pinch bolts are in. Strut is labeled. Lower control arm is labeled. CV axle is labeled. Inner and outer tie rod ends are labeled. Sway bar link is labeled. It's all labeled. Hell, it's labeled up top too. See where? W. Jenkins, 5 of 24. So, it's together, cheddar. We have built, in my opinion, right now we have the finest example, the finest specimen of any 2006 Toyota Corolla with 170,000 miles on what few parts remain of what it came with. It's the ship of Odysseus here. Is this the car that came in? Is it still a Toyota or is it a Jenkins? I'll let y'all be the judge. Let me clean it up, get some transmission fluid in it, and get this thing on the ground. Behold, folks. The only thing wrong with that job was how long it took me to do it. We have ourselves an absolutely beautiful freaking 2006 Toyota Corolla here. She rides and drives like an absolute dream. There is not really more to be desired, in my opinion, from the ride handling and quality characteristics that exhibited it. Just on my eyeball alignment, mind you, there's adjustment to be made for sure, all over this car. That being said, holy wowie-ree, she rides great. She's sitting up just a little bit higher than she did. I'm very pleased with how everything fit together. Very pleased with the results. It feels good. I gave her a little tug around left and right going through the neighborhood. She is glued to the road. It's hilarious. So, new FCS struts installed. Everything else is Delphi Technologies, except those inner tie rod ends. Those are Duralast. And as you can see, pinch more ride height restored back to original condition. Car looking just friggin' sharp. And again, I got to put a piece of plastic back underneath the bottom of it. I need to put the rear trunk interior back together. But I'm parking it here as it's symbolic, as it's done. Boy, am I happy about it. So, congratulations. Look at this museum piece. I mean, we've turned back the clock to 2006 here. It's ridiculous. Silent through the neighborhood. I mean, dreamboat. Absurd. All right, folks. This one rides a little and handles a little bit better than it was supposed to from the factory with all that oversized stuff on it. Thank y'all for watching. I appreciate you. We'll be doing a little bit of daylight footage with it in the morning when I recheck my alignment and do a bolt recheck and make sure everything's rechecked. All right, there it is, folks. Done. Happy Monday, everybody. Wild Man Willie here, getting ready to turn in my homework. So let's have a look at just the final touches I did today. As you can see, the plastic skid plates like to fall down on these cars, and I don't like to tolerate that. And they're not really required to be removed to service the vehicle, for fluid services and such at least. So I'll be the one crying about this in the future. But I just went ahead and took my official Tesla recall brake pedal rivet gun from Harbor Freight Special and attached all that shit up, and the result is, well, they don't fucking rattle. They sound like drum heads. So that's one little touch on these to keep that from rattling and falling off and shit. All nice, ready to go. Got my alignment is as good as I can get it. It really ain't on the straight at all. I'm excited to see what it looks like on paper, but I'm pretty fucking satisfied with what I pulled off there. Rechecked my torque on my lower control arm bolts. I want the alignment shop to do that too, of course, again, after it's limped its way up there. Tie rod ends, jam bolts are good. Rear interior is put back together. Topped off some transmission fluid. I did inform the customer that they should check it at the alignment shop. Might need a little slurp, but after that, it should hold, and if not, I need a phone call, as we did axle seals and transmission fan. But at this sign, absolutely no sign of leakage or anything pissed off at all. What we have here is a happy car. I've been making mud angels out here in it. I've been having me a happy, fun, good old time getting this one done. But today is the day. In about an hour and a half, man gonna come pay me for this. I can go buy groceries, all sorts of fun things. At the moment, the only trouble is I'm too gross to damn test drive the thing anymore. So I'm just gonna wait on them to arrive. It's ready to rock as far as I'm concerned. Anyhow, folks, happy Monday. Homework ready to turn in. Let's see what kind of grade I get.